Good morning, evening or afternoon, wherever you may be, and welcome to the Passions and Pastimes Photo Creative Challenge. If you're not sure what photo creative challenges are, they're a series of monthly photographic challenges designed to stretch your creativity and give you a little project, a little workout to do to help you grow your photography. So hello everybody, I see all our regulars are here, which is absolutely wonderful, as always. I hope we're all well and happy. So, can everybody hear me? Just tell me if you can. Is it all working? Because I got a big error message on my screen. My sound is not very loud. Okay, sorry Jane, I don't know if you can turn yours up a bit because everything seems to be set okay. Good, I've got mostly yeses. Fantastic, good to see you all. So this challenge, I know, was challenging for many of you. I can tell that from the number of entries and just looking at the images. I realised it was a tough challenge. Now, something which I think a few people possibly missed was that it was what are your pastimes and challenges outside of photography. So I just need to get this one out of the way. There is a link to the challenge on my website every month where the challenge is posted. Please, please, please go and have a look and read it, because then you understand what is expected, what it is, how it works and all that stuff. And there's usually a few little tips there and also a few examples in the images to the right. So if you don't do that, please do it. You will find it in the next challenge, which will be going live right after this live stream. Click the link, go to the website, bookmark that page, and then you will know, because I noticed there's quite a lot of photography related entries in this one. Now, of course, if photography is your only passion, there's nothing to stop you photographing someone else's, again, as it said on the website. In fact, it could even be a lot easier. Think of, I don't know, maybe people who play tennis or golf or do another sport, people who like, I don't know, horses or pets or dogs or something like that, because then you're not necessarily have to expose yourself in front of the camera, but you can go and work with somebody else, because at the end of the day, what are we looking for with these challenges? Great photographs, great composition, great use of light, and some creative thinking for sure, and then we've got a handful of camera skills. As I've said so many times, there's only 5 controls on a camera you need. Most of it is guff put there by marketing people. For sure there are 1 or 2 features they are incredibly handy. But if you look at your favourite, most awesome, most respected photographer from pre-1980, they didn't have all those menus going off in forever and functions and features, because cameras don't take pictures, you do. And you do it with 5 controls, bit of pre-visualization, bit of creative thinking, and then the big ones, light and composition. That is all. Okay? So, oh, I see there's an oh no, I read that and then forgot. Oh, Julia. Never mind, hey, happens to the best of us, but I'm sorry, photo-related entries, they're not going to get a chat. What I do want to do is very briefly just go through the examples I posted on the website, just explain what's going on in them, how the image was made, how it was created, and what the thinking behind it was. Because that is the key to all of it. As I say, fulfilling the brief is less important than coming up with a brilliant photograph, you know, great light, great composition, choosing the right lens, the right focal length. So let's have a quick look at the examples. So let's say your passion or pastime is your guitar. So how did we make this picture? It's really simple. Honestly, you won't believe how simple it is. It's a piece of black card against a wall below a window. The window is what is lighting the guitar. It's coming towards the camera. It is very soft, north-facing light. So the window is facing away from the sun. There's gentle light coming in through it. Now you see the highlight on the back of the guitar, on this end, our end. There's like that highlight on there. There is a reflection of the light fitting in the ceiling. So what we had to do is get rid of that reflection. It's just a piece of white card. which we just had dangled on a bit of string and some tape and just dangled it until it blocked the reflection of the ceiling. That's all there was to it. Yes, it was a slow exposure because there wasn't a huge amount of light, but the light that there was really, really good. And it's sitting on a piece of, it was once black velvet, but over time it's kind of gone more of a reddy colour, which actually I thought worked with the guitar. But that is it. That is it. So it's a really simple thing, but it's noticing things like a reflection in a shiny surface and then asking yourself powerful questions. How can I get rid of that reflection? What could I put there instead? Would a piece of white card or paper work? Could I dangle it from the ceiling on, I don't know, a bit of string or fishing line or something like that? That's all it is. And then you know what? You give it a go. You try it. Did it work? Didn't it work? No, it didn't work. Right, think of something else. Maybe I need a bigger piece of card. Maybe I need something else. Sometimes you want to put black things in to create shadows, the darker areas. But that's how that one was created. I don't remember the focal length. It's not particularly long. I'm guessing it's about 50 millimeters. It's about all I can say really. Let's say your passion or your pastime is cooking or food. How could you create an interesting picture of some food? Yeah? We all see food shots from directly above. We see it all the time. It's all over Instagram. It's all over everything. So let's have a look at it from a different angle. Let's think of something which has got a bit of height to it. So this was a smoked salmon mille-feuille, which I photographed for a chef actually. So it looks quite nice like that. Again, light. The light is coming from mostly behind the dish, the mille-feuille, but some of it is coming from in front. There's a light behind and a reflector this side, just to push a little bit of light back in, so it wasn't a total silhouette. The original shot, which I did, was okay, but then I thought, let's have a spoon in there, let's have a bit of movement. So actually I was getting this guy to sort of hold a spoon and just move it into the shot like he's drizzling a bit of something around the plate, just to add a little bit of movement to it. That's kind of like the creative process around it. And then once you've thought that through, that's all there is to it. You don't need anything else. You go click. Some of you may have seen this one before. It's in a video. In fact, there's a video of me taking this photograph somewhere. It's one of my old motorbikes. Now, if you look at it, you can see that it's very late in the day. In fact, I was in a mad tearing hurry to do this because the sun was rapidly about to disappear over the horizon. Very, very little time, but it's beautiful, warm side light, and it's putting that pinky colour into the sky. Now, I shot it in this direction because I wanted those elements in the background, because anyone who lives in this area might recognise it, and it's just kind of nice. It's just something to break up the background rather than there being nothing, or something that's interfering. So the motorcycle is positioned as it is on purpose, but because the light is coming from the right side of the frame, it is really in danger that the side we're looking at, the left side of the bike as we're looking at it, not the side from when you're riding it, that would go really, really dark. So again, there's a reflector, something to reflect a little bit of that light that's coming in from the right of the frame and push it back in, just to give it a little lift so we can see what's going on. That little highlight on the B of BSA, on the green area of the petrol tank, that is actually a reflection of the reflector that's pushing the light back in. You don't have to go and buy a reflector, something expensive. You can just use a piece of white card. You could get an old cardboard box and just paint it white, spray it white, stick paper on it. You could put tin foil on it. That will reflect more light, but it's a bit harsh. Go and try these things. It's really low tech and really simple. Maybe your hobby, pastime or passion is horses. This is one of the, they're not really wild, but we could say wild ponies that roam around the area where I live. Again, it's like, how do we go about taking this photograph? It's not so much, it's really difficult actually, because you've got to find a pony in the right place. This place was chosen because of the light, not because the horses were there. There were horses nearby, and it was just a question of hoping they would wander across into this area. Why this area? The light is coming from behind the horse. That's why there's a little glow going all the way around the outside edge of it. We're looking downward very, very slightly into a valley. So there's no distractions going on in the background. We're looking at the other side of the valley and it's kind of misty and hazy down there. So we're getting great separation. Once we've done that, what sort of focal length? Well, it's a longish focal length because long lenses have a narrow field of view. That means that we're excluding what would have been an incredibly bright sky. It would have been a huge distraction. So you find the focal length that will get rid of the sky and will close it in and lose clutter from around the edges. Then you go and stand the distance away you need to be for that focal length. For example, if you've got a 50mm, you're going to be relatively close. I don't remember what I used for this. Let's say it was 100. You've got to move back a bit to counteract for the magnification. Then it's just a question of waiting for the horse to do something interesting. I quite liked it grazing. What I really wanted was for it to have its head up, be looking towards me with its ears forwards. I tried making horse noises, clicking, whistling, calling it, all sorts of things. It just ignored me and carried on stuffing its face. I have since learned that the number one way to get a horse to stand up and be alert and stare at you is to drop on the ground and do push-ups. This is the God's honest truth. I would often walk through this area in the mornings before locking myself away in the office or whatever. And I'd do some push-ups or something like that. And if you do that near horses, they're like, what? Seriously, they really pay attention and they stare at you. Try it. Amanda, that's a really good one. Yeah, doing star jumps usually does the trick too. Yes, doing something that is unexpected for a human being, because the horses ignore you as a human being. So if you're standing there clicking at it going, hello, come on, and all this stuff, people do that to horses all the time. Doing star jumps or push-ups, yeah, I can totally get that. It will just go, what? And it will look at you. So this was at the winter solstice. And I would imagine most people here will know what that place is, looking at the background, that's Stonehenge. You get an extraordinarily eclectic collection of people there, and I kind of wanted to capture that. The girl in white with a deer skull on her head, she's standing out from the rest of the crowd because it was really cold. They're all wrapped in coats and things like that. I'll come back. Michael Duff, I'll come back to you in a moment. They're all wrapped in coats, winter woolies. She's wearing this white dress out in the cold and doing stuff. Then you've got the guy with the drum. Now, this is as the sun is coming up over the horizon at the solstice. So everybody is facing one way, except me. I'm facing away from the sunrise because I want to see what people are doing. Now, the guy with the drum, he was mostly looking at his drum or watching the girl who was dancing. That's not very interesting. It's the back of somebody's head. What's going on? Now, what do we know? If he looks over his shoulder at that sunrise, and we know that he's going to be interested in the sunrise because he's at the winter solstice, yeah? If he looks over his shoulder, the light is going to catch his face and suddenly he becomes noticeable because light is always king. So in this case, and again, I think there's a video on YouTube of me taking this shot as well. I'm crouching with my knees bent and my legs are starting to shake. I was there for so long with a wide angle lens just off his elbow, waiting and waiting and waiting and thinking, come on mate, just look over your shoulder, look over your shoulder, look over your shoulder. And he did it, click, good, job done. We've got the shot in the bag. The danger with that one would be that the girl had stopped dancing, or maybe she had moved into a position where she was half covered by someone else, or she was, I don't know, picking her nose or something at that moment and decided to stop dancing. We were lucky it worked. There are other shots actually I've got where I think she is making more interesting shapes, but because the light isn't hitting that guy's face, the image just doesn't work at all. Just going to backtrack a little tiny bit. Michael Duff, you said on this shot, how did you manage the convergence? Do you mean this Stonehenge shot? I guess you must do. I haven't managed any convergence. The stones are quite a long way away, and they are converging very slightly. But because the foreground is so full of other stuff, I think you don't notice it that much. We've only got one stone, well two, you can sort of see properly, I think. So yeah, so no, I haven't done anything because obviously I'm quite a lot lower than the stones because I'm at this guy's sort of elbow height shooting this with a very wide lens, which can cause convergence. So it is a good question. But no, I didn't actually do anything. There are different ways you can manage convergence. That is when things go like this, or go, and that's divergence. Convergence, when you look up at a tall building, it goes like that, doesn't it? Way more than we notice to our eyes. The ideal way is to have your camera, I must have got a camera somewhere, there's one. So if your camera is angled up like that, you're going to get convergence. The top is going to slant in. If you're looking down, it does the opposite. So the main trick is to try and get your camera flat, level to the stones. The other thing, which of course we have this wonderful stuff called software these days, is within programs like Lightroom and Photoshop, you can go, right, that should be straight and it should line up with that, and it goes blump and it will straighten it up for you so that it looks more natural to our eyes. Some convergence is natural. We do notice things tapering off a little bit. But in this case, no, I didn't actually do anything with that at all. I hope that helps, Michael. So, the last one I was going to talk to you about before we go into it is just I like abandoned places. Places where people once were and are no longer. This is it's an unfinished hotel. The project was abandoned before it was actually finished. And I've taken so many pictures of this place because it's somewhere we often visit on a workshop that I run on Lanzarote. Exactly. Michelle Lorraine, exactly. You've been there, haven't you? So there's other shots. Let's just have a look at a couple of others from this same place. You know, the graffiti's kind of interesting. It's still not a bad shot. It's okay. It's, you know, what it is. This one was taken much earlier when the sun was rising. So the sun is rising behind the old abandoned hotel, and that warm orangey glow is coming through the building. It's lighting up those doorways in the back of these unfinished apartments. And it kind of works, but to me, the human element is missing. In this one, yeah, the human element has been there, but it was kind of after the event. And I just think there's something much more human about this one, having those tables and chairs on that balcony. It sort of says that, yeah, even after it was abandoned, some people came back here. And decided to try and find ways to use it. You notice they put a wall in there and a door and a window. In fact, people used to go there and they made themselves little apartments. The place has actually got pretty dangerous now. So last workshop I chose not to take people there because I don't think it's a good idea. Why did I change the angle? I just think it looks more dynamic at this angle with stuff tapering off, those two parallel lines, and they're sort of framing up the balcony with the tables and chairs. The light is relatively flat. There's a little bit coming from the left, even though the sun is more behind the building. And I'm guessing that could be light being bounced back off the sea, which is off to the left. But in this case, it's more about the composition and framing those three chairs and a table. So that's the thinking behind it. That's how you go about it. And it's much more important, I think, in these challenges for everybody to really look at light and composition. It's the most important things. Yeah, you've got to know the 5 controls and how to drive the camera. That's a given. That's beginner stuff. Advanced photography. Someone actually the other day said to me something about, I'm looking for an advanced photography course. Well, my question is, what's an advanced photography course? What is that? What does it look like? Are we talking about techniques? Like, in this case, the guy was talking about focus stacking and things like that. I wouldn't say that's advanced photography. I would say it's a technique which can be learned, and it's relatively simple, and you watch a couple of YouTube videos and you've got it. You just do it. It's really not hard. But planning and thinking, looking at light, figuring out ways to use it, that I think is much, much harder to learn, and that I would assert is advanced photography. Anyway, if anyone got any questions about any of those images, if you have, now is the moment to do it. If not, I will shut up and we'll have a look at your pictures. So I'll just give you a moment to respond and sup on a bit of tea. You're welcome, Julia. Good. Of course, everybody, you are welcome to say, shut up, Browne, I know this stuff. But the thing to remember, of course, is not everybody does. You know, we are all experts and beginners. I was working with an estate agent fairly recently. Really great guy. Very, very nice guy. They sell some beautiful properties. And the problem he has in hiring a professional photographer is you want the right light, you want everything to be just right. So you book your professional photographer to do the shoot on the house, and then suddenly it's pouring with rain. It's a dull, awful day, and you don't get those beautiful highlights coming in through the window. Yeah, it can be done with outdoor flashes and things, but it's a big old pain. So this guy is actually going to be doing a series of one-on-one private training days, because he's bought the equipment and he's decided he's going to learn how to do it himself, because then when the property is vacant, when the light is right, when the time of day is right, he can then just go and do it. And it was just really, really interesting talking to this guy about it, and boy did he ever take it on board. That was an aside. I've slightly lost my thread as to why. Thank you very, very much, Carrick1675, for making a little donation towards the costs of running the group, which is really a time commitment on my behalf. But also, of course, we have our awesome admin assistant. So thank you very much for looking after us. Another quick question. When shooting this shot, how did you manage the sharpness when focusing with the focal length? Michael, I'm not quite sure. You're asking about this one with the Lanzarote Hotel and the balcony and all that stuff. How did I manage the sharpness? I will answer that it is this image. It's not really a problem, simply because I'm quite a long way away from this, shooting with quite a long lens. I think I was probably out at around 200mm. But because I'm a long way away from it, I'm beyond the infinity point of the lens, in which case everything will be sharp. It doesn't matter what aperture you use, even if you've got an f1.8 lens. If you are further away from the point of focus, which let's say is the tables and chairs, yeah, where do I focus to keep within the infinity? I'm not within the infinity. I'm beyond the infinity. And that's why everything is sharp and it's not an issue, and it can be shot at any aperture, because I'm a long way away from the hotel. By the way, convergence question. This one did have convergence because I am looking up. And even though I'm a long way away, I am looking up, and there was a little bit of convergence which was corrected in Lightroom when I post-processed the RAW. So yeah, I focused, I would guess, on the tables and chairs, although you could focus anywhere in that shot, at pretty much any aperture, well no, at any aperture, and it would still be sharp because you are beyond the infinity point of the lens. If you don't know what I'm talking about and you think, what's an infinity point? It's the point where everything going off into infinity is always sharp regardless of what aperture. Where is it? How far away is it? It varies according to from lens to lens. It's all over the place. You have to experiment and find out. It's beyond the scope of this conversation, but it is covered really quite well in depth in my online masterclass in photography course, as well as a whole bunch of other stuff. So yes, you can always check that out. Right, let's go and look at your things, and give me a moment to get my screen sorted out. All right, where is your stuff? Where have I put it? Here it is. I've got about 8 or 9 windows open on 2 different monitors. And I'm a bear of little brain as it is, so trying to manage that lot. Right, we're nearly there. Let's just move that over there a bit. No, I've got to mess myself up. Sorry. YouTube has changed my back end. Not my personal back end, but the one I'm looking at where I'm streaming, and it is actually causing a problem with my Windows. But anyway, right. Here we go. Sorry, that took a lot longer than I expected. It hurts a little bit psychologically, Fiona. Physically, I am fine. Okay. Uncle Duff, thanks. I'm still learning to compose a picture. The actual biggest problem. Yeah. Those are that to me is the advanced stuff. Understanding composition and light. That is advanced photography. Because once you know these things, once you've learned them, you can apply it to anything. It doesn't matter whether you're into landscapes or macro or sports or anything. It's the same tools. You're just mashing up the ingredients. Well, not the ingredients. You're just using the tools, combining those 5 things in different ways appropriate to what you're shooting. So I get your pain. Michael, just keep shooting pictures. Try lots of different things. Just try it. Thank you at RJG2394. If you're watching this, please do me a huge favour and just hit that like button. It just helps people find the group, helps me, helps all of us actually. Right, your images. I'm going to need to move this, put that there. Right, I think we're good. Let's start at the bottom. As I say, there were not so many entries this time. So what was it? I really want to know. What was it about this challenge? If you struggled with this and you didn't go for it, what was it about this? Please put something in the comments because I want to know. Why do I want to know? Because if I know what you're struggling with, why you found this difficult, then maybe I can do something to help so that this sort of thing worked. Trying to find the right subject and topic and be creative with it. Orion Throwy, you're very creative with all sorts of things. So, you know, think of someone in your life who's got a hobby or a pastime. All you've got to do is go and photograph them doing their hobby or pastime, make sure the light works and do a lovely composition. Nailed it. This is great. Thank you, guys. Life overtook this time around. Shame on you, Fiona Campbell. I'm not surprised. You are a busy bee. It's summer and too busy doing other things. Fair comment, Jane Barnes. I love your authenticity. David Clifton, slightly shorter timescale. Christmas intervened. Yes, it did. But then you had all that time off, David. What were you doing? I know you were partying. Oh, norovirus. I'm sorry to hear that, Julia. There was a bit less time for that challenge. Anyway, yeah, thanks guys. But also, please, if there's anything else, pop it in there because I am intrigued. Hard to think of anything fun that I do. Again, Carrick, it's like, think of something fun that someone you know does. You know, maybe someone's into BMX biking or roller skating or, I don't know, whatever it may be. Crochet, right, let's just choose one. Let's say you know someone who's into doing crochet. Right, how can we make an interesting shot of crochet? Well, maybe you photograph that person's hands. You don't have to see the whole person, but maybe you just get a nice shot with the wool and the crochet needles and find the hands, you know, working in a nice position. You need some nice light. I would recommend probably a backlight coming from a window. You might need a reflector. But then as they're crocheting, you can just watch. And this is another big thing with photography. Watch what's happening. What are people doing? How do they move? Okay, you have this idea. I'm going to shoot from here. but then you discover when they're doing whatever it is they do, crochet for example, they repeatedly do that with their hand, something like that. Okay, it's blocking it, that doesn't work, I need to change my position, or ask them to turn sideways a bit while they're doing it, and then you've got a clear view. This is all thinking like a photographer. Michael Duff, you're asking lots of questions. What camera would you recommend that has those 5 things you need? Every single camera with controls, what are they? Shutter, aperture, ISO. Those 3 are obvious. Understanding focal length. Focal length is the most creative control in all of photography, which is utterly overlooked. You can change the mood, the feel. I said earlier that a long lens has a narrow field of view. It's like doing that. It's like looking down a long cardboard tube. Do it now. If you do that, go on, sit in the room, make everybody in the room laugh at you and look at you and think you're a weirdo. If you do that, I can see almost the entirety of one monitor. If I make one little tube, I can see half the monitor. If I do that, I'm actually looking at my webcam and can see next to no monitor. That is a long lens. It does that, and it's brilliant, and it does other things too. As opposed to something that drives you bonkers with menus, sadly, almost every camera has got a load of arse in menus that go off into forever. There are very few. Hey, cool one, Helen Martin. Thank you, Orion. He said, make sure you all take his masterclass. I couldn't agree more. Because really, honestly, it's called masterclass, not because it's like super clever. It's because it is everything you need to master. Then you can move into the more advanced stuff, which is thinking like a photographer. That's in my 7 building blocks of photography. 7 building blocks doesn't talk about cameras or settings. It talks about you and how you think, how you take little things, questions, powerful questions to ask. How do I want this to look? How am I going to make it look like that? What focal length will I need? What's the composition that will bring that together? Actually, it's the wrong way around. It's composition, then you choose the focal length that will work for the composition. Basically, it's teaching pre-visualization, which is so important. Orion, absolutely, yeah, your mum's old Pentax only had the main controls. There's a wonderful interview somewhere with Henri Cartier-Bresson, and the interviewer was talking to him about photographs he took, I think it was in Israel or somewhere like that. And he's saying, yes, all those photographs, they were really dark. So was this, you were going through a particularly dark stage in your photography, or did you have thoughts about, you know, the society or whatever it may be, and you created the pictures dark? Cartier-Bresson's response was, no, I couldn't afford a light meter, so I was guessing the exposure and I got it wrong. How awesome is that? Look at those amazing photographs all these people took without all those bells and whistles, and I'm sorry, most of it's BS, but they're by marketing people. Right, let's look at your pictures. So I'm going to start at the bottom here and work up. So even if I don't choose your image, doesn't mean anything about you, okay? All it means is I'm choosing images to say something about, and hopefully they will have a little bit of something, some learning for everyone within the group. Cassimi Low, there's things about this I really like. Now, I understand passion, pastime, so either eating gâteaux is your passion or making them is your passion. Either way, food, things like that, they are part of your passion. They're a big bit of it. And I get it straight away. I can see it. I think there's some things you could do with this which could improve it a bit. I quite like your folded tea towel. I like the way you thought about that, because it does add a sort of dynamism coming into the picture with your plate of strawberry gâteau, which is really interesting. I rather like the spatula lifting it. The light is very soft and even. I don't think that's a problem because you've got a nice colourful subject and it's circular and it shows up. The triangles and the circle, they immediately draw your attention. How could it be improved? Okay, use of the space, the real estate in the frame. I think, have you got the gap at the top up here, the same as this one here? I think that would help. I'm being picky here. if you could have got the camera directly above, and I know I said we see photographs of food from above all the time, well, yeah, it's the main reason for that is it often looks good. I just wanted to be different in that thing I was doing. But if you've got the camera directly above this place where those triangle slices meet, I think that could have helped. I don't mean like in the middle, I just mean so you're looking straight down. The thumb and finger, I think we either need more hand or none at all, personally. Let's do a little crop job. Come on everybody, most of you have done this already. Let's just get something and just take the fingers off. Just take the fingers off. What do you think? What do you think, people? You know, you might disagree with me, and of course you're allowed to. I think it was possible, if it was you, and I'm guessing it was, who was holding the spatula, to hold it a little further back so your fingers weren't in it. I think it either needs a full hand or most of the hand or none at all. What do you think? Take the fingers off. Get the chopper out. Come on, I know there's more than 2 of you listening or watching. Come on, join in. Because this is a group thing, you know. By you guys expressing your opinions and thoughts, there's learning in there for everyone. Fingers off, fingers off, fingers off, fingers off. I think I'd like a bit more hand rather than no fingers. Yeah, Denise, I go along with that. I get it. I think either a bit more or a bit less. Hands are a difficult thing in these sorts of images too, because to get the position of the fingers looking natural is often easy to try too hard. Hands can be problemsome. Problemsome? That's not a word. You know what I'm trying to say. And also getting the right hand. I mean, you wouldn't want my fingers in a photograph with my gnarly fingernails and they're a bit dry and crusty. So you wouldn't ever want my fingers in a photograph. Fingers add to the foreground leading into the pie. Yeah, okay, fair enough. I get it. I think we either need more or none. I think the spatula does the job of leading in, and I think that brilliant idea with the tea towel does. What do you guys think about the green leaves on the left? Speak to me. What do you think about the plant? Or bits of plant, those few leaves? Because Kasimi, you've thought about this, you know? You've obviously thought about it. They're not there by accident. It's interesting listening to your opinions. You like the plant, keep them. Think they're a bit distracting. Don't like the leaves, distracting. I like them. Yeah, okay, so we've got a bit of a split. Shows off the strawberry. Okay, yeah. Make it homely. I like them, adds a bit of warmth rather than sterile feel. Oh, Denise. Balances the composition. Hey guys, you're rocking and rolling. This is brilliant. Throwing in your comments. Like the colour, but they kind of throw off the balance a little. Joe B. That's exactly what I think. I like the colour. Somehow I feel they belong, but they do throw the balance of the image off. Those are exactly my thoughts. It almost feels like we either need a little more plant, or I think someone just said move them a little closer. Also, I think maybe that plant isn't quite the right plant. Maybe it's a bit too big, a bit too straggly for the plate of gatto. But good colour combination though, red and green, you know, that works. Lots of things I like about that, Kasimi. Good job. Right, moving on. What else have we got? I can't talk about everybody's image, obviously. Bob Williers. Hello, Bob. And I'm not reading the thing. I'm looking at, do I get something here? Yeah, you're passionate about, I don't know, either you're a bird watcher or you just like animals and wildlife. I get it. I totally get that. I quite like this little, what is it? Blue tit. Even though it's got a yellow chest, I'm not very good at animals, even though I live in the country and always have. I feel The light's quite soft, and I think that's okay because I think the colours stand out. I think it could be improved, Bob. I just think there's too many twigs. I like the way you have, I guess you shuffled around like crazy to get your little blue tit framed between those two twigs, because I can't imagine how many times there was a twig right in the way. But I just feel there's a little too many. And I think actually as a square crop, you almost take the bottom off and make it square. Come on guys, let's do our close one eye crop thing. Make it almost square, not quite square because it almost cuts the little birdie's toes off. But I just think it helps. So it's very much, birdie is on a lower right third. But I just think it helps. I think there's just a few too many twigs. Yes, he is sitting in a frame. I completely agree. And it's a good frame, don't get me wrong. I can't imagine how much work that took. And patience. But I just think we could lose most of those twigs at the bottom. I just think it would help declutter it just a little bit. What's that? Chris is saying it might be zoomed in, and it seems off focus. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to tell, isn't it, with Facebook? To me, it looks like it's probably all right. It could be a Facebook upload algorithm-y thing. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, well done. I admire your patience and your work. Owen Jones. Owen? How do I pronounce your name? I so wish we were all in a room together. Okay. So, your passion here, I would say, has got to be a roast. Maybe just enjoying a roast. I'm just reading things into the picture. I'm not reading a comment. Maybe it is the cooking of the roast. Maybe it is cooking in general. Maybe it is that Sunday roast thing. The fact you've included hands getting food off, you know, out of the bowls and things, that suggests to me it's more to do with Sunday roast with the family. That whole social thing around eating together. Exactly, Orion. You said it much better than me. Family time. Oh, I see. Emily Jones. He's your hubby. Right, got it. And he likes cooking in general. Brilliant. That's fantastic. Owen, what can I say? I like your idea. I like your idea a lot. The execution, I feel, could be a little better. If you're going to go for the down shot, I think it's so difficult, but you really need to get things sort of lined up. Do you know what I mean? So it is straight down and it's a little bit more regular. I feel that it's a little, where it's off a bit, it just makes it a little bit messy and uncomfortable. Maybe, I don't know, you might already be standing on a chair, I don't know, but specifically, I think if you could have got higher up standing on a chair, I don't think it would have hurt to see more of the people. To me, that would say more of the enjoying time with family, Sunday roast and the rest of it. Everyone's excited, they're sitting down at the table together, brilliant. They're not just sticking things on their knee in front of the telly, which is awesome. The light is, I would say, indoor light, but it's not unpleasant light. There's some shadows and some shapes and some textures. It's good. And we can't always control it. The fork and the glass in the right corner, it's things like that. A little bit of a knife and fork poking in, whoops, down there in the bottom, and that fork and glass up here. If you could have got above, I think, you know, even with the backs of heads, just sort of an arms coming out and getting stuff, I think that could have helped. It may have required a little bit of direction, you know, if you're saying, no, put your plates close together. Come on, get in a bit closer. But it's a really great idea, and I totally got what you were trying to say with it. Michael, you're asking lots of questions. Good. People, I encourage you to ask questions because it's just such a good idea. Could flash be used in this shot? Yes, absolutely it could be. Emily Jones quick snap. Yeah, I got that, and that's the feeling I'm getting. It looks like a quick snap. Yes, you could use flash. I would not use direct flash. By which have I got a flash? There's a flash. Flash. So direct flash, let's say the food is here, I wouldn't shine the flash at the food. I would rotate the flash head like that and bounce it off a wall or the ceiling or something like that, so that it's directional and it's more diffuse and it wraps around the food a lot better. When you bounce a flash, when you change the direction, you bounce it up or you turn it around or whatever, be careful, because if you bounce that off a yellow wall, what have you got? Yellow light. Red wall, red light. Blue wall, blue light. These are things to watch for. You can colour correct to an extent after. There you go, Orion. I just said that. Good effort though, even though it's a snap, and I do get it's a passion or a pastime. What else have we got here? Come on, I need to move up, don't I? What's the time? Good grief, we've been going nearly an hour. I'm just hardly got anywhere. I need to move on. I'll be a bit quicker. Okay, I feel, who's this? Needs a bit of help. Maggie Crawford. I get it. It's countryside and walking and all that stuff. For me, Maggie, the things that doesn't work so well here, I don't mind the back view, it's the fact that the people are overlapping. Well, if you're here, please tell me, was this a candid shot? Was it a moment you just grabbed as it happened? Or was somebody on there and you said, go on, point at something? Because I find the pointing pictures, they often feel very staged when you look at them, unless they are very, very carefully choreographed. For me, the main thing is there's obviously someone else there, but we can't see that person because they are kind of half hidden. I think it could have worked much better had you managed to catch a different angle. Maybe as they're walking up to that style, stepping onto it. You know, as they step over it, their hand on each post, they're stepping up and over and towards, and they're kind of maybe looking at the camera or they're looking somewhere else. But I think it would have given the shot a lot more dynamism. I quite like the tree branches in the top right corner. I'd be inclined to put a few more of those, but I think a lower angle with them coming towards might have helped. Hello, Maggie. You just grabbed the shot. Yeah, I get it. And there's nothing wrong with grabbing the shot. But it's everything we talked about earlier, that thinking ahead, you know, and thinking, oh, this could work as they come across the style. So you get yourself ready for when they do it. And it's still a grab shot, but it's like preempting things. Right, moving on. Okay. Hello, Paul Martin. I would say that somebody's really into golf here. I get it. Paul, forgive me. Yeah, I get it. And you're fulfilling the brief very, very well indeed. Passions and pastimes. The thing is, when you look at this, do you think that's an awesome picture? Now, we are all in different places on that journey, and I know for myself, pictures I took many, many years ago, and I thought were awesome, I look at now and think, could have done better, because we're all in different places on our journeys. Put me with someone who is a specialist wildlife photographer, I'm at my depth. I understand the principle, I understand the theory, I know those 5 controls and how they can be used for wildlife. But a wildlife photographer will understand things about wildlife's behaviour, which takes it to another level. So we're all beginners and we're all experts in different areas. I think what could have been more dynamic would have been to see if you could photograph the golfer swinging the club. Something like that, especially if you could do it from a low angle. Maybe a wide angle lens, just a little bit away from the golf ball, looking up, you've got someone towering over you, and then shoot on burst mode, and as the ball comes through, as the club comes through the swing and hits the ball, you've got a series of frames, and amongst those there's probably something really interesting, or possibly a slower shutter speed to catch that swing as a bit of a movement blur. Yeah, Chris said maybe getting a low shot through the grass. I agree. The ball coming towards you. Very good, Suffolk Bobby. Yeah, that would be good. I once got hit just behind my ear with a golf ball on a golf course. That hurt. Maybe it explains a lot. But yeah, Nice idea, you fulfilled the brief, but I think your image could have been more powerful. By the way, I just want to note, you've got some quite nice light going on there as well. You've got backlight, so good for you on that one. It's coming through the grass and it's putting a rim light around the club. But it's kind of like the club and the ball, it's really there, it's really in your face, and it's like, golf! Do you know what I mean? There's nothing story subtle, it's someone yelling golf. I hope that helped, Paul, but good on you. Right, I'm going to whiz up a little bit further. Who's this? Helen Martin. Hello, Helen Martin. So when I look at this without reading anything, I'm unsure what your pastime or passion is. I'm going to guess it's probably walking. And I'm going to have a look. Walking in the countryside, chatting over the fence with anyone I meet. Okay, got it. But I'd say, does your picture scream walking? Initially, I would have said your passion or pastime was gravel paths or fences. But I'm not going to be quite that literal, even though I've just said it. I like the shadows going down there, and I think if someone was walking up the path, I can see that. I know there's shadows of some people standing to your left when you shot the picture. I'd have been inclined to go up to the end of that lane. I don't know what's behind you, obviously. You're going to tell me there's a great big red building or something dreadful and ugly. But I like the shadows on the lane, and I like the shadows of the people. I'd have been inclined to possibly go down the lane and see if I could stand on that gate, get a couple of bars up, use it as a ladder, and then shoot against the light, and then see if you could do something with those shadows walking. If they were close to the fence on the left, you'd be looking down at the walkers, the shadows of the walkers on a little gravelly track. Maybe been able to include some of the scenery as well, I don't know. But not necessarily, but not actually see the people. I think that could be something that could work really, really well. Or, having read your description, you know, leaning over the fence, chatting. Get your friends there to lean on either side of the fence, and you got the background, and use a longer lens, something like that, maybe to bring in more of the countryside and a little bit less of the barbed wire fence on the right, because you've got a lovely post and rail fence on the left. Hope that helps. But good on you. Good on everyone for giving it a go. Jamie Smith. Hello, Mr. Smith. Yeah, sorry, mate. You did a photography one, so I can't talk to you about that. What else have we got? When I looked at these, I knew who took this photograph immediately. I knew it was you, Irene, because, you know, we've been on workshops together and stuff, and I know your very precise nature, and this is such a you image, and I think it works on many levels. Okay, what do you notice first? People, please write in the comments, in the chat. What do you notice in this image first? I know what I noticed, but I want to know what you notice, because, you know, we're all different. I'm going to drink some more tea. You have a look. You tell me. Hello, Irene. Anyone else? Anything you notice first? Okay, we've got a bit of a split in the audience. How many people are watching this? I'm just intrigued, because there's only about 4 people saying anything. Let me have a quick look. They've changed, as I say, it's changed the way it does things. I can't see. Right. Orange Scissors. She's very tidy. She is that. scissors and ruler, lines of the thread at the bottom. Okay, so the audience is split about what to look at and where they're looking. First thing I see are the orange scissors. Why do I notice the orange scissors first? It's something to do with the cross on that baseboard. But to me, it absolutely says hobbies and pastimes. Yes, we're talking about, you know, making clothes and sewing and all that kind of stuff. I totally get it, Irene. I can just see you getting everything all lined up perfectly, and it is perfectly lined up. There's things about this I actually rather like. It is absolutely a thing about clothes making. The way you position the tape measure, balanced by the zip on the other side and the row of cottons, the reds across the bottom, and all that sort of frames it up. The scissors being the big one, because you've got to cut out your cloth before you can start to use, you know, the other tools, I guess. Okay, big scissors were the first item you placed. Sorry, I'm just chuckling at comments. Right, pay attention, Browne. I think your light could have been improved a little bit, Irene. It feels like the light is possibly, almost feels like it might be an on-camera flash. It is so direct and harsh. I don't know if a bit of window light might have helped, coming from, if you like, the top of the picture towards, or at an angle or something, just to move the shadows a little bit. There are some very, very gentle shadows, but I feel some sort of slightly more angled light might have helped just a little bit. Window, top and left, overcast sky. Stage is the floor, low power light. Top right, another light being waved around the subject during a long exposure. Okay. I think it's the wavy light going around it. It's possibly flattened out some of the shadows, because there's lots of textures in there, which I think could be brought out. But overall, yeah, I like the idea, and I kind of like it, and it obviously shouts hobbies and pastimes. Suffolk Bobby. You're going to go to the back of the class in a minute. I like that. You made I laugh. Exactly, Michelle. Yes, with that shot, there was no need to worry about depth of field. Absolutely. Snip, snip. Right. Children, I'm sorry, I'm going to move on a little bit. I'm not going to talk about as many pictures as I had hoped. What's this one? Lenny Hulse Rosado. When I just look at the picture, Lenny, I'm unsure. Is your passion, I'm going to look at your comment in a minute, but I'm unsure. Is your passion the sea? The water? Let's have a look. Going out early at sunrise for a slow shutter photo. I'm sorry, Lenny. It's a photography based thing. Yeah, it did say it's not about the photography. So, to be fair to everyone else, I am so sorry. I'm going to move on. I think this is a good Emily Jones. I kind of like this. It is pretty obvious. You know, passion pastime. You love reading. It's really obvious. You've got some really quite nice light going on here as well, which I think is good. You get reading, mug of chocolate, whatever it is. For me, it's this. It's this little bit at the bottom which is bothering me. This very, very bright area here. I know there's a very bright area on the book. That's not quite so bad. I like that light sort of falling away. I don't know how you lit it, Emily. It'd be interesting to know if you're here. It feels like there's a lamp or something very close to the book. There's a light source that's very close to the book, because this corner of the book is very bright and this corner is quite dark. So the light is falling off very quickly. If your light source is very close to the subject, then the light, so there's our light source, and if the light is, look, I don't know if you can see this on my hand, but you see how that part of my hand there is really bright, but my fingertips, it hasn't affected it much. But as you move that light source back, the light actually evens out. But when it's close, you get this very rapid fall off of light. And I feel that's what's going on there. Only light was the dining room window. Okay, maybe it's very, very close to the dining room window, or the sun was shining through the dining room window. That could be the thing. But overall, I like it. If you could have moved it a little further away, I think it's because it's in direct light. I think you've got sunlight coming through the window and that's what's causing it. But overall, I do like it. But this little bright bit in the corner, let's do our crop thing, guys. We're going into crop mode. Let's just below the S of SM, I just feel you could afford to take the corner of the book off. I really do. Somehow, because of the angle of the book, I don't think you need this area at the bottom here. I just think it's help if you just, you know, not like hard against the S, but sort of midway between the corner of the book and the S. What do you think? But it's a great idea and I totally get it. And I do like the light and shade fall off. It doesn't want even light because this is actually giving it a bit of a warm, cosy feel. Good one, Emily. I'm going to move on a bit quicker because I do want to go a bit further, even though there aren't that many. There's a lot of you who didn't read the challenge, isn't there? Another photography one. Sorry, Alan. Another photography one. Sorry, Ram. Another photography one. Who's that? Brian? Julia? You're all in trouble. Michelle Brandenburg. Totally get what it is, hobbies and pastimes. It's to do with drawing and colouring and crayons or something. You haven't even written a comment, which is, oh yes you have. But yeah, working with colours, drawing, stuff like that. The things that I like the diagonal connection between the hands and the crayons. For me, I don't know, but if it was possible to do it the other way round, so that this person was over there and the crayons were over there, so the diagonal was going up and to the right instead of down and to the right. Does that make sense? But either way, it kind of works. The other thing I think that could have helped you would be maybe not to use, I know the plastic box is what the crayons live in, but maybe take a handful out and put them on the table. Because the plastic box is being a little bit domineering over the coloured pencils. Yes, Stephen, I am. I'm in school teacher mode. But I just think, yeah, I feel the plastic box isn't really helping. The contrast is very low as well, Michelle. I think it could have had a little bit more contrast. I do like the way your light is working in that our coloured pencils are predominant in the shot because the light is mostly here, and then this area at the back is a lot softer. I do think you could use a little bit more contrast and maybe lose the plastic. See if you could find something else to put them in. But otherwise, good on you. Totally got it immediately. What else have we got here? Who's this? Carl Spitzer. Totally get what that's about. Yeah, absolutely. This is someone who likes, I don't know, carving, wood carving, making figurines, toys, things like that out of wood. I think it's quite intriguing as well. I like your angled light, putting those shadows across there. It's got a very like late at night working with a little lamp next to you, like I'm enjoying this and I'm going to keep going even though it's way past my bedtime. That's the story that I make up about it in my head. Your use of colour, the red and green, that diagonal is very strong and it works. One way or another it works. I'm not sure about the red light. It's an interesting combination. What have we got? Had fun creating this image shot myself, whittling little figures. It's not usually shooting this style at all. Fine. I'm intrigued by the red light. and the angle, because it's almost like the wood and your hands are in a different light source. It's almost like you've got two different coloured lights going on. I think you possibly have, which is really rather clever. It's almost, I'm getting a fireside feel from this. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about it. I really rather like it. The fact that, I'm guessing it's you, but the fact that, you know, we can see there's someone there. I like the position of the arms and the whittling and that intriguing red and green. What else have we got? I'm going to move on a little bit. Who's this? Johan? I don't know. I totally get what your passion or pastime is, without a question. You're into knitting and all that kind of stuff. Very creative. Very, very good friend of mine is really, really into it. How could this be improved? It's a nice idea. You got, you know, the warm stuff, the warm clothing which you're making outside in the ice and the snow. What is against you here is our old friend light. That is really against you. The light is coming sort of over your left shoulder. It's round to the left a bit, but it's still coming from behind you, and it's not helping a great deal. Also, I think the background with the snowy twigs, although they're very beautiful, I'm not sure they belong here. They're sort of a little bit busy for my liking. And also, this is just me, it just feels kind of weird to me that you would have crochet, knitting, whatever it is, wool and all the rest of it, sitting on some damp snow. It might be lovely, cold, dry, crispy snow, but it just feels off. But I get your idea, and I totally got the challenge. The cropping is a little unusual too. It's like you've got a lovely ball of wool here, but you just cut a bit of it off. I don't mind you cropping these balls of wool. I think that's completely acceptable. It's this one. It just feels, I don't know, it feels like it needs to be more complete or not there. Possibly lose a little bit to the left as well. But for me, the biggest thing is it poses a question. Why is this lying outside in the snow? I hope that helps, Johan, however I pronounce your name. Good on you for entering the challenge, and I totally got what your passion was, and I hope that was of some use for you. Where else are we going? Oh, we've come to the top already. Right, let's choose one more before we go through to the other bit. Actually, I'm going to choose a couple, I think. Andy Offler. There's things about this I rather like. Does anybody not know what this is? If you don't know, just say me, please, in the chat. I'm going to try and sip some more tea. Amanda doesn't know what it is. Okay, right. So there's a few people who don't know what it is. Got a tea leaf in my mouth. Michael Duff's showing off because he knows what it is. Okay. Yeah, so it's the derailleur gears off a bicycle. You know, a push bike with lots of gears. That's the chain going around the sprocket. Each one of these cogs is a different gear. So, yeah, I knew what it was immediately, but I understand that many people are going, well, what the hell's that? How does that relate to a passion or a pastime? Because I don't know what it is. Maybe the guy's into bondage or something because there's a chain in it. However, photographically, I quite like the light on there and the colours. I understood what your passion is. It's cycling. But most people didn't. And this is another thing to just think on. You know, will people understand my picture? I understand it. with anyone else. Yeah, that's probably all I can say about that one, to be honest with you. But good on you. You entered, I got your passion. Never mind then. Philip Tranter. Hello, Mr. Tranter. Again, I'm looking at this without reading the comment. I know I've seen these before and I went through and chose some, but I do this without reading the comments on this sort of thing. When I looked at this, I thought, okay, your passion is a burger bar. I did read the comments afterwards and then I understood what it was. So you were talking about après ski, aren't you? So it's a snack bar place. There's things that you've done with it I rather like, and that is somehow using a slowish shutter speed in all that brightness and getting movement out of the crowd, because it's obviously crowded and very, very busy. The ski bit came in after I read the comment, because La Bergerie, which I realise now is the name of the bar, is so domineering. I didn't notice the skis at the bottom at all. So yeah, for me it's a little bit of a miss, but I do like your thoughts about getting the crowd busy and moving and, you know, people being in there being busy, but I totally missed the ski part. I think we needed some skis stronger in the foreground or something like that. It's a tricky shot for you as well, because, you know, where the people are in a far more shade than the actual building, you know, where it says Bergerie. Anyway, let's move on and go take a look at what you awesome folks have done this time. So let's just go up here. Right, now I'm safe and can show you things. Here we go. Let's move this. Oh, it's so annoying that YouTube has changed this thing at the back. Whereas before I could have on my other monitor a small screen with all your comments and still be able to see the pictures so that I know if it's streaming to some extent. They've now made that whole window where you see the picture way, way bigger, so it's obliterating half my screen, which I need to look at other things. Right. So, these were my chosen favourites, the ones I kept coming back to, which to me, I just think they worked really, really well. And what were the key ingredients? Light and composition, most of the time. Denise Savage. Your passion or pastime is obviously doing jigsaw puzzles with absolutely no picture on them at all. They're just green. They must be really challenging. The key here, yeah, I get it. It's a jigsaw puzzle. And lots of people love doing jigsaws. I'm much too impatient. But for me, what kind of works here is the light. The way you've got that, it's that triangular shape, that corner coming down into the corner of the shot with the light. Okay, we got the sort of the mesh diamond thing going on, which I guess it's from a diamond window, something like that. But the light is really nice, and it's very obvious that you like, or someone likes, doing some very intricate jigsaws. I don't know what else to say about that. I just feel it works, but mostly it's down to the light and shade. I like the idea. We've seen there are other jigsaw puzzle type things going on there, but it's the light and shade which to me makes this one really work. Yes, Helen Martin. That must be a nightmare of a puzzle to do, because there are so many similar tones, and I'm guessing there are other things going on there that, you know, will appear in the picture. You're doing one, you're Jane Barnes. I'm doing a jigsaw puzzle as you speak. You put that down and pay attention this minute. Okay, our next one that I really liked, I think it's really atmospheric, from Patsy Fairclough. And again, look at that gorgeous, lovely light. Look at that lovely, hazy distance. The way the path is winding off into that distance, and it's picking up the light and it's bringing it back to us, so it's really accentuating it. We've got the walkers who are backlit, and everything that's going on around in the countryside. I totally get it. Yeah, walking is my passion. Country walks, misty mornings, that gorgeous light that you have shot in. I know I'm often saying shame they're walking away and not coming towards, but I don't think this matters, because in this case they're walking away from the camera, but we can see where they're going, and we can also see why they're going there, because exactly, who said that? Irene Carson. Perfect and clear what it's about. Absolutely. Patsy, my only coaching would be, I think, the lady at the back where her shadow is just cropped out. Now it's really difficult, I know, to get that angle, but I don't know if there was a way you could have maybe kept that, or possibly lose just a little bit of the road, only a tiny bit, just half of it between the end of her shadow and the bottom of the frame, I think might have helped. But I'm being mega picky here because it's a lovely photograph and it totally gets it. Yes, Michael Duff, the negative space. It's not really negative space because there's stuff going in there. It's serving a purpose. We can see the light coming through the clouds, that sort of hazy sky and all that stuff. Maybe you mean the bit at the bottom. But anyway, moving on. I kind of really got this too, Stephen Robson. So your passion is gambling, man. Get it? You like, I presume it's poker. I'm not a card player myself, but I like the light, and you come in pretty close, but you've got some really quite nice lights coming sort of from above and slightly in front of the camera. The way you've sort of created that bit of a pool of light, if you like, around it, that could have been done or accentuated in post-production, doesn't matter, it works. You know, we're nice and tight, but your composition is careful. The hand with the cards, just looking at the cards, kind of totally get it. And for me, it does have that feel of casino lighting, because the light is above but still coming towards us a little bit. I think it works. It gives a feeling of casino, of playing poker or whatever. Who said that? Denise Savage. Yes, doing the sneak peek on the cards. Yeah, absolutely. It tells a little story really well. Good work. Well done, Stephen. Okay, we have Dina Peters. So here we've got, forgive me, I can't remember your name, person with the wool and the knit and the crochet, the knitting on the snow. I totally get it, but we've got a very different feeling here. I'm not going into a comparison thing, but I mean, hopefully it's useful for you. So the thing I really like here, Dina, again, it's light. It's light. It's always light. Light is the thing that makes and breaks, and it's the thing which many people find the hardest to recognise and understand, myself included. I was 29, 30. No, I was 30 when I decided to take my hobby, photography, which I loved it when I got a good one. I had no idea how I'd done it. I wasn't particularly good at it, and I still believe that the camera was the important bit. What's the best camera? What's the best camera? Which is the best lens? I didn't realise it was nothing to do with those things, and it was all to do with me. Yeah, I struggled like hell trying to understand light and what you need and what makes it work. And Dina, you absolutely, I think, nailed it here. You've got that darker background with more wool going on there, but you've got the light just coming across the wool, which is bringing out the texture of the wool as well as the needles. the shadow, the curly shadow on the label being caused by the curly fabric, wool, whatever it is. It just works. And also all the colours work very well together. We've got that sort of reddy brown wood against the sort of very dark grey, almost black background with the green, and all those colours, they're all good friends. And they work, and you've absolutely highlighted what the picture is about. The needles and the wool. Everything else in that shot is playing a supporting role to them. Very well done indeed. Our next shot is of a completely different nature, but I just think it is powerful. And it absolutely says what one of David Whitfield's passions and pastimes is. Look at the look on his face. I just love it. I wasn't sure before reading the comment whether this was gaming or what it was. You said it's a keep fit type. You use a virtual 3D thing and you do a keep fit thing with it. But it is just so powerful. I love your expression and the position of the hands, the shallow depth of field on your face, and we can't see your eyes. I get it. Even if you don't know it's a 3D headset thing, the look on your face is saying that there's some passion going on. It's something that you enjoy or is important to you. I just think it's, yeah, I think you said it there, Jules Vids. Yeah, it's actually a very clever photograph. The fact that it's also what looks to be your own home, the picture frame on the wall. Looks like there's a door over your other shoulder or something, but because the light is working on you and the background is nice and soft, that shallow depth of field concentrating on your expression, which says it all, and the position of your hands, it just says what's going on. So yeah, I think it's a really good one. Well done, David. Also, David is a woodsman. David likes going and photographing in the woods, and you just pull rabbits out of the hat. Every so often, mate, you just go and surprise everybody. So my pick of the month, if you like, the one which to me I gave the most mood and feeling and kind of really fulfilled the brief beautifully, was from Sarah Condon. I think it's just such a lovely photograph. And how wonderful to see a young person absorbed in a book. Sarah, I don't know if you bribed this child to sit there and pretend they're enjoying the book when they'd much rather be looking at an iPad or a phone. But either way, I just think it's a cracking photograph. Look at the light. It's moody, it's atmospheric. Sarah, if you're here, I really would love to know how you lit this, because I think you've got a little light hidden behind the boy, and that light is throwing light onto the boy as well as onto the wall behind. So the light is not only lighting the boy, it is absolutely drawing our attention to the boy. The positioning, the use of the space in the frame is great. The raised knees, the book there, the expression is brilliant. I keep having a little look just to see if you're here, Sarah, because I would like, there you are. Hello, Sarah. Your son had a small torch which he used to read under the covers of the bed. He came out and sat on the floor and put the light next to him on the floor. How brilliant. How brilliant. Okay, so you didn't light it. You didn't do that. However, you spotted it. And this is one of the big things, one of the keys. You spotted it. Also, how often do you see a small child sitting on the floor reading a book? Not that often, but also you got on the floor so that you are shooting at slightly below his eye level, at knee level, which gives him a power within the picture, which would not be there if we were looking down. We often see kids sitting on the floor, but we're seeing them from adult looking down height. This isn't. This is from slightly below child height. And it's great and it works. Also, that torch that's sitting on the floor, look how it is just caressing the chair that's in the corner. It's just giving us a little clue as to what else is in the room without domineering, without taking over the subject. Well done, Sarah. That's all I can say. It's a cracking picture. I hope you're really proud of it, and I hope your son likes it, and I hope you stick that in a frame, because I think it's a lovely, lovely photograph. There are parents who would pay lots of money to have a professional photographer get a shot of their son like that. Well done. I think it's a cracker. So, a rare 5 minutes of peace and quiet, yeah, I'm sure. So that brings us to the end of this evening. Thank you all very much for being here and for entering challenges. I just think it's brilliant. I just think it's brilliant. And something for me which is really personally very, very rewarding is watching how so many of you have grown. You know, this thing which started as 12 weeks to stop us going crazy during lockdown, we're now, what, 3-4 years on, we're still going, and watching how people have grown and evolved and been with it for ages and taken on board and learned from each other, because that's another powerful thing within the group. The way you all talk and communicate and help each other, it's just awesome, completely awesome. If you haven't hit a like button, hit a thumb, please do. Do it now, because that really, really helps. I wish you well. Have a lovely time. I'm off to Morocco very soon. I'm not sure what the dates are. You might have a little bit longer for this one, because yeah, I'm going to be in Morocco running that workshop, which is full, which will be exciting. I will be posting some updates on the in the group and on the Facebook page as we go along, so you can keep track of what we're up to, and that will be a marvellous adventure. We've also got of course Madeira, that's going on as well, so you know, come and have a look. There's some workshops going on. Julia, what about Whitby? Yeah, I know. I haven't had a chance to go to Whitby. This is one of the things which happens with workshops, because I've got to invest, what, 2 or 3 days to go and stay in Whitby, to do some research, to figure out what would work, what won't work, where to go, what to shoot. Do we need a classroom? Is it going to be a 2-day workshop, or like a weekend workshop, or is it going to be a 1-day, like cameras don't take pictures? What's it going to be? I have not had the chance to go. The other thing is, I don't want to go at this time of year, because I think spring or autumn would be a better time because of the light. We've got more light and it's less likely to be pouring with rain or freezing cold or something. So I need to go at that time of year to go and check out the light, because light is the most important thing in the world. So yes, I haven't ruled it out, but we're probably a year away at least. Thank you, Jane Barnes. I would love to come to New Zealand. Bit far to come for a recce, but if I'm ever there, let's see what we're doing. We are approaching our 6th anniversary. Is it that long, Alan Baxter? Yeah, well done you guys. You've been here doing this for a long time, and super welcome to anyone who has joined more recently. And if you're watching this but you haven't been joining in, please join in. That's what it's here for. Be well, take care. The next challenge will be live in a very, very short time. Those of you who are signed up to the newsletter, that should be arriving in your inbox any second if it isn't there already. There are links below this live stream where you can go and find all that good stuff, like online courses, like masterclass workshops and newsletter sign-ups. Be well, take care. I look forward to seeing you next time.